This allows them to perfectly judge the optimal pouncing distance.
Wow, that's so fucking cool.
This allows them to
look
perfectly judge the optimal pouncing.
Yeah, hey, that hey, he going in for the illest dunk. Holy, let me let me get that. Look, we gonna see if TierZoo does back good in the lineup. So this is how cats broke the game. If y'all f with TierZoo, we'll add TierZoo back in the main channel lineup. But if not, we'll put it on the second channel. I miss reacting to TierZoo, so let's get it.
3, 2, 1.
House cat v house cat, you know what I'm saying? W-Ussy.
This game's tier list can seem pretty set in stone sometimes, but in reality, major shifts in the meta can happen extremely quickly, especially when new resource hotspots and points of interest open up.
Okay.
Builds which are well adapted to capitalize on these flashpoints can see dramatic ascensions on the tier list.
I remember this video, and Shorty was trying to take the damn chips away from the bird. If you don't leave that damn bird alone.
One such event occurred when humans unlocked the food storage ability. This greatly improved the humans' survivability by giving them a consistent source of XP, even during harsh winters or famines. That is, if they could defend their stockpiles. These stashes were incredibly valuable and could easily support entire colonies of rats and sparrows if properly guarded. And while these Neolithic humans did have some techniques they could use to try and protect their precious grain on their own, ultimately their saving grace came in the form of a previously low-tier predator build that was barely scraping by in the North African savanna, the Wildcat. A build which
look at the little demon. Look at that little demon.
The Wildcat.
Look at the little demon. Look at the little meow meow. Cute ass little demon. Right, look at it. Uno, literally. This is how Uno walks around with his emotional support toy.
A build which, once domesticated, would go on to become one of the most oppressive, overpowered predators in the current meta. But what is it about the house cat that makes it such a dominant threat? And how was it that the Wildcat became better suited at taking advantage of pest infestations than other builds? To really explain the success of the house cat, we need to go way back and start our story just after the Miocene balance patch. This update granted mammals access to a new ability called Carnassial Teeth, a side grade of the Dentition skill tree, which allows users to gain bonus XP from carcasses and carrion sources. This may seem like a minor thing, but it completely changed up the metagame and made hyper-carnivorous builds a lot more viable, giving rise to a new archetype called—
Listen though, those big ass teeth though, like the fucking dumb bitches look like they would fucking hurt. You know what I'm saying? If I'm getting a regular bite from a regular fang that's like this big, like it's like, okay. But them motherfuckers was hanging over their mouth, bro. Like, that's like, bro, that's like getting stabbed with a machete, low key.
The Carnivoran, a group which includes many of the most popular predator builds in the current meta. Carnivorans are divided into two factions, Caniforms and Feliforms. Caniforms are more generalist in nature and invest a lot into the olfaction skill tree, letting them track the sense of whatever they need.
Okay.
Be it scavengeable carrion, prey, fruit, honey, water, or teammates from a great distance. They also tend to have a lot of stamina, allowing them to run for long distances without tiring.
Okay.
Feliforms, on the other hand, doubled down on the Carnivoran archetype's original strategy. They spec'd into even more abilities meant to crank up the efficiency of the hyper-carnivore game plan. The ability Tongue Papillae allows felids to extract even more value from fresh kills. Instead of investing heavily into scent-based sensory power, Feliforms tend to focus more on their hearing and eyesight abilities. This doesn't help them scavenge, since things like carcasses and berries don't make sound, but it does make them incredibly good at detecting hidden prey. Also, in keeping with the Carnivoran's first major advancement, Feliforms also focus a lot more heavily on specialized dentition, optimizing their bite attacks to deal massive puncture damage, and more effectively hold onto prey so the user can deal bonus damage with their claws. Throw in a few more ambush-focused abilities like retractable claws and camouflage fur patterns, and you've arrived at the modern Felid, easily one of the most successful stealth assassin builds the game has ever seen. In fact, during the Ice Age expansion,
bro, he straight stole food out of that nigga's mouth, bro. Look at him. That nigga is so, bro.
Stealth assassin
So let me
builds the game has ever
get
seen.
that. Thank you.
In fact, during the Ice Age expansion, Felids were such a dominant threat that many other predator builds had trouble competing with them at all. In the current meta, cats remain incredibly dominant in virtually every major terrestrial server. Basically every cat, including the ones I like to throw shade at, is a threat. Not just to those of similar weight class, but even to builds that vastly outweigh them. Although their power stat tends to be fairly modest among carnivorans, through efficient use of critical hits, a skilled Felid player can take down just about anything. While the majority of the Felid player base was off rampaging through the upper weight classes, an offshoot of the faction opted to forego larger size and instead chose to spec into a few new abilities, meant to capitalize on exploiting the weaknesses commonly found in the lower weight classes.
Okay.
So let's finally start unpacking what makes the house cat so overpowered. We'll begin with a quick look at the cat's stats. We've got a build with upper mid-level intelligence, low defensive stats, decent damage, above average stealth, high mobility, and excellent perception. Right off the bat, something that might jump out at you is, well, the fact that nothing jumps out at you. Cats are supposedly some of the most broken predators of all time, and yet none of their stats seems all that busted on their own. Top tier builds tend to have at least one stat that is so
like that's really OP. But even though, listen, here's the thing though. We've learned that when something has a very high in one thing, it'll have a very low in another, right? However, if you have something equally balanced across the board, it can do just about anything. You got yourself just an overall kind of, you know what I'm saying? I'd rather be somebody that's good at everything than great at one thing. Type shit. Super so right.
high it completely invalidates the strategies of other players. But no, cats aren't able to use tools, they don't have a bone-crushing or venomous bite, they can't change colors, they can't tank attacks for days, they can't echolocate, and so on. So no obvious answer here. Next, let's check out their unique abilities. We talked about a few already, including the abilities that buff the XP rates from meat sources. These should not be understated, as without them you can pretty much entirely write off the viability of this build. Cats, and all other mammals, have the warm-blooded trait. This grants them greatly improved stamina regen rates, greater resistance to cold damage, and a bunch of other useful perks, but at the cost of much greater upkeep requirements, meaning they need to secure kills much more frequently than similarly sized cold-blooded builds. Without these abilities granting the cat bonus XP from meat, it would be very difficult for them to keep up with their energy needs, even with how efficient cats are at hunting.
Damn, he snatched that shit right off the trash can.
Cats can also
Golly.
move extremely quietly due to their soft toe pads and retractable claws, enabling them to easily get within striking range of prey through smart use of cover and line of sight. But okay, all types of cat, large and small, have those abilities. How about something more unique to house cats? For that, let's look at their primary perception-based ability, slitted pupils.
Yep, them pupils, boy.
This ability grants house cats extremely precise
Isn't there like reaction time? I saw something that said their reaction time is 2 times faster than snakes.
depth perception, greater than all other felids. This allows them to perfectly judge the optimal pouncing distance.
Wow, that's so fucking cool. Who caught that angle? Holy shit.
This allows them to
Look.
perfectly judge the optimal pouncing.
Yeah. Hey, that nigga. Hey, he going in for the illest fucking dunk. Holy. Let me let me get that.
Massively increasing their odds of landing an immediate critical hit and incapacitating their target before it has a chance to respond.
Got it. Damn.
So even though the house cat's base damage isn't broken in and of itself, when a house cat goes on the offensive, it can certainly look that way. This strategy is what has led to the complete collapse of several different player bases in the amphibian, reptile, bird, and mammal factions, as it truly is that oppressive. Now, while we were first looking at the cat's base stats, one thing you might have assumed right away was that the cat's lower defensive stats are its main weakness, and that cats function as a sort of glass cannon, with very little counterplay options when attacked. You might also assume that given the cat's high mobility, their primary defensive strategy is simply to run away when they feel threatened. And while their top speed is often enough to escape danger when needed, instead, cats employ their mobility stat defensively in a different way. This is where one of the most shockingly effective aspects of the house cat manifests. House cats use their incredible agility to stand their ground.
Go on.
Agility and quick reflexes are usually used to dodge attacks, but cats instead actually use the reflexes to deflect them. Because they're—
Yep. I seen that video. That fucking cat. They said their reaction time is way faster than what's the name? Than snakes, bro. That's why they be putting snakes in a fucking blender, bro. with them skibbity paps, bro. Look at this shit, bro.
But cats instead actually use their reflexes to deflect them.
Watch, look, look, he already had it. Man, get the fuck off me, nigga. Us.
Because their incredible depth perception grants them such high accuracy on their attacks, they can use their claw swipe attack to actually block incoming strikes. This is surprisingly consistent and works on a lot more attacks than you might think. Now, obviously, this is a high-skill, high-reward strategy. Missing a parry can result in serious damage. But if you get good enough at this, you can ward off attacks from just about anything, and potentially even open up opportunities for counterattacks. Put all this together, and you come to understand what a house cat build truly is. A house cat is what you get when you fuse the deadliness of a snake with the energy of a mammal. But why does this playstyle make for such a good partnership with human players? Compared to dogs, they seem like they'd be much less useful party members. Humans broke the game and became the top-tier build by using coordinated team strategies and tool use in order to utterly trivialize their matchup versus large mammals. Dogs easily slot right into this game plan, as they can help track and chase down large prey, and also sniff out any potential ambush predators that could disrupt and punish this strategy. When a successful kill is made, dogs and humans naturally split the reward and both benefit. Dogs are also great defensively, as they can keep watch at camp and alert party members of approaching enemies. Cats are generally pretty useless in this regard. They don't have anywhere near the endurance required to chase down prey over long distances, can't square off head-to-head with those builds anyway, and aren't nearly as
Hold on, bro.
Can't square
He said,
off head-to-head.
Get your bitch ass off me. Yo, he's going toe-to-toe with a what is this, a fox?
Those builds.
Look at him.
Anyway, and aren't nearly as reliable.
Hey, do you know 44% of y'all aren't subscribed? Go ahead and hit that button. And also go check out my gaming channel where I upload things like Spider-Man gameplay, Fortnite, Modern Warfare, older games, newer games, anything I can get my hands on, I'll play it. Go check it out. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the video, man.
It wasn't until humanity unlocked the agriculture ability that the player base began to notice additional vulnerabilities they didn't need to care about before. Vulnerabilities that dogs couldn't really help with. When operating off of a hunter-gatherer strategy,
because if the bird flies up, what the fuck the dog gonna do? But, you know what I'm saying, real deal, like, you know what I'm saying, real stepper.
Humans could basically ignore all builds in the low weight class. Rats and birds were no threat to humans and also not worth the effort to take down, so it makes sense for them to just focus on larger quarries. However, when the focus shifts to farming and food storage, those same builds humans were ignoring before suddenly became one of their biggest threats. Having a granary raided and its food reserves destroyed could easily wipe out an entire human settlement. So figuring out proper security for these storage sites was critical. Dogs simply are not effective enough at stopping pest infestations to
and that nigga chilling too.
Fill that role. They cannot climb or fit into small spaces and aren't stealthy enough to catch the trickier pests. Cats, on the other hand, are truly excellent at this task and come with other benefits as well. The main one being that they require very little upkeep. Although they are social builds, they hunt alone, so they don't require any direction or attention from their human party members in order to accomplish their task. Since humans don't have any need for rat or bird carcasses, the fact that cats
they would keep all the food. They wouldn't have to share. That makes so much sense. Holy.
Usually share their kills is actually a benefit rather than a drawback. The only thing cats really require from humans is to share in the shelters they construct. In the wilderness, cats typically use burrows, hollow stumps, or caves as their home bases. But these are vulnerable to attacks. Human settlements are significantly safer. Speaking of safety, even though cats are extremely lethal hunters, they pose very little danger to humans. This is a huge advantage over snakes, which theoretically could ally with humans to serve the same purpose, but in practice are far too dangerous to risk keeping around.
Oh shit!
The fact that
did he just get hit with the venom? Oh my god!
Cats are warm-blooded and therefore need to eat more frequently than snakes is also a benefit rather than a drawback for humans, since it means they need to stay on task and keep their guard up. So, while it is common to see players debate which build makes for the better addition to a human player's party, the correct answer is actually both. Dogs are a huge help in the large creature matchup, while cats cover your weaknesses in the small creature matchups.
Yup.
Having both in your party covers all of your weaknesses and enables human settlements to use a high...
That's why I got both. You know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? That's why I got both.
...hybrid playstyle of both hunting and farming. So if you're a human main trying to construct the most optimal party comp, the only real question is how you'll keep the dog and cat players from fighting each other. Thanks again for watching, and as always, good luck out there.
Hey man, shout out to TierZoo. This is a banger video. It did put a lot of shit in perspective. You feel me? Hopefully y'all fucking with TierZoo again. If so, we'll put him back on the main. If not, it's going on the second channel. We'll see how this goes when we hit the upload button. But like the video, subscribe, notifications, and check y'all out in the next time. Tight shit, tight shit, tight shit.